player.
Were you surprised at the poise that he showed after the controversy over the summer, the supposed Kobe criticism, this, that, and everything else? He handled that so well. And when you get to know him as a person, you can kind of see why and how.
Bill, I really don't want to get into anything like that because I don't know the background. I don't listen to talk radio.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, it does nothing for me. And I don't know. I really don't even know what happened. I know there's supposed to be some criticism, but I think it shows you the character of him. And again, this is a young kid. It's a very young kid. And maybe it's like grandfather jumping on you, and Kobe Bryant's your grandfather compared to him in terms of NBA experience and playing. But sometimes I'm sure he felt hurt by it, and sometimes it might motivate him to try to do something a little bit different. But whatever it is, it's behind him, and the future is now.
Jerry, you realize we're going to get ahead of ourselves with this next comment. But the Celtics certainly look like, if not the Pistons, the class of the East. And as you were saying, you thought the Lakers might have been. Do you realize if the Lakers and the Celtics get together, heads will explode in Los Angeles? It'll be that much fun.
Well, Bill, I wouldn't look too far in the future, okay? I think you better get through the regular season. And,
I know, but you know where I'm
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about, but that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Boston I think one of the things that has been interesting about Boston, they're a tremendous defensive team. I think they're the best defensive team in the league.
Where'd that come from? Garnett, the coach, Doc? Where
they hired a defensive specialist guy up there who's done a heck of a job with him. I think Doc has sort of let him run with it, but I think that's a strength of a coach. A lot of times when you maybe feel that somebody can help you in an area that you're not as familiar with as the offensive part of it. But again, they've got a great player in Kevin Garnett. Paul Pierce has just been tremendous. He has been tremendous, and I love the way he's playing. I don't think he gets enough credit right now because Kevin is having such a good year. And, of course, Ray Allen is a proven player in this league. But defensively, they are good, and they're going to run you out a lot of things they want to do, and that's when you need players that can do things on their own. And teams that have those players, and what others? A couple of them can do it. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James.
Do you like watching NBA basketball? Is it a good product? Is it being played the way it should be the game be played at that level?
I know the commissioner would hate me for saying it, but I think if we had less teams, it would be a lot better league.
Diluted talent is what he's trying to tell
Well,
me.
I'm not necessarily saying that. I think, if you want mediocrity at times, you can have that. But I wish we had a few less teams. Take that talent and put them on some of the teams that haven't had success, and I think you truly have a great league. But I enjoy watching basketball. But Bill, I've watched a lot of basketball, and I will not sit down and watch a full game. I have all the channels. I watch a little bits and pieces of every game. I try to watch teams that are struggling. I try to watch young players because I always felt a special connection with young players. I think they're the ones, and today young players are different than when I came into the league. You were young at 22 or 21. I was 21 when I was drafted. And today's players might be 19 years. Well, they can be 19 years old. And this year, in this draft, if all these young kids would come out in the draft, I think probably the first 5 players would be 19 years old. And so they need to be nurtured. There's a lot more care in the franchises that do the best job in caring for those players. And if they're good enough, if they have the work ethic, and they have the desire, then it's going to take them a while, but they'll get going.
That answer brought 3 completely different questions out, and I'm going to hammer them to you real quickly. What's the special connection to struggling teams? Why they interest you so much? Are you sitting there in your mind thinking, how could I fix this? Why is that?
Bill, I never think I fixed anything.
Why are you drawn to that, though? Why are you drawn to the struggling teams?
Well, I think it's, number one, most of them don't have a big star, okay?
Yeah.
Somebody that can really carry them and make plays late in the game. That's one thing. Secondly, they don't have enough talent. Okay, they don't have enough talent. And, the draft is like fool's gold. Last year there were 2 players that were very branded in the draft last year. And I often wondered the fortunes of the Memphis franchise if they would have gotten Odin and or Kevin Durant. Because in smaller markets, and there's a huge difference, in smaller markets, it is puts so much pressure on the teams, the owners, if you can have a winning team, and there's no guarantee that you're going to have success in these smaller markets, even if you have that. You look at New Orleans, their attendance is not very good for a team that's played as well as they have. And you're always trying to do more and more. But I think, again, I think things are in cycles. The Lakers have never really been down. And Bill, eventually it's going to happen.
A little bit in the 90s. Tiny bit in the 90s.
Bill, a little bit. They missed the playoffs
exactly.
1 year.
Oh,
Bill,
right.
1
all right,
year.
You're right. But to Laker fans, that was an eternity.
All I'm saying to you is that's what creates this enormous pressure on the front office.
Without question.
And more importantly, let's say they win 25 games, and it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
God forbid it would happen here in Los Angeles because the people would be ready to kill everyone. I think the Lakers are the most popular team here. And when I first came here, the Rams, the Dodgers were on the front page. The Lakers were on the back page of the players. That's not that way anymore. The Lakers are the sports team in the town. And I think it's because of the enormous success that they had. But God forbid that they would ever have one of those years. I mean, it is tough to take. I mean, it's tough to take. I'm watching one of the great coaches in the league, and I watched his press conference, Pat Riley, last night. I'm going to call him today. I felt so badly for him. He's at wit's end. They can't win a game, but they don't have a very good team. They don't have a very good roster. And I don't care who you are. If you don't have players, you can't win.
What do you tell him?
I'm just going to tell him, keep your damn head up. I said, you've proven over a period of time that you can do it.
Yeah.
And you don't have the personnel you can do it with.
I want to go back to the young kids, the college. It's 1 and out if you want at this point. I know Stan Love, Kevin's father, said he would even think that 2 and out might be even better, keep them in 2 years. What's the perfect scenario for you as far as these kids?
The perfect scenario for them to stay
4 years.
There's a maturation process that goes with learning how to care for yourself, interacting with your peers, interacting with fellow students, developing social skills, developing skills how you can care for yourself without having an entourage around you. That's the ideal situation, and we'll never see that again. Again, and don't want to mention players, but I think when families get involved, it's not a good thing.
It's a political year. Somebody's going to get elected president. I'm not going into there with you. But they always talk about their first 100 days. All right, David Stern says, Jerry, you're in. I'm out. In the first 100 days of your tenure as the NBA commissioner, what would you do?
I'm not going to go there. There's some things about the league that obviously...
Is there anything that's not too critical that you could talk about, maybe, that you'd like to see?
Not really. I don't want to go there, okay? And because it's not important. We've got a great commissioner in David Stern. The one thing I think is horrible is the lottery. I think it's horrible. I think if you want to have a lottery and you have the first pick in the draft go to any team, and after that you draft an order of, I think that's one thing that I would change for sure. Lottery is a form of gambling, okay? And everyone trying to protect the integrity of the league so teams don't, what do they call, tank games?
Tank games, yes.
Tank games is essentially accusing teams of throwing games, okay? The pain endured by teams losing as many games as they lose is enough. And that's one thing I would love to see changed. I've never liked it from the start. Never liked it from the start. But I think they should be drafted in order of after the first pick. I have no problem with that part of the lottery. But that would be one thing, if I were commissioner, I would change.
Yeah, and I wasn't asking that in any way to draw negative light on anything that
well, it's not negative.
Exactly, and that's why
It's one person's opinion, and I'm sure it's reflected by a lot of people in the league. I don't think it's fair to the teams that have to suffer through. You look at Miami; they could get the 4th pick in the draft. That wouldn't be good. The Grizzlies had the worst record in the league, and they got the 4th pick in the draft last year. That's not good. And I think if you have that much pain, and there's a lot of causes for that. Injuries, not a very good roster, those things happen. And that would be one thing that I would change, for sure. Or try to make a change.
There you go. You have a forum for about 5 more seconds. Anything else?
No, not really. David Stern is an incredible commissioner, okay? And plus he's a good, plus I like David.
Right.
I think he's done a lot for the league. I think he has a vision trying to grow and improve the league. I think the challenge of some of the smaller markets, these teams need to have a level playing field.
You know, it's funny you brought up gambling. So in no way, shape, or form would you like to see a team in Vegas?
Oh, I don't think it make any difference to a team. But no,
yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. How hard is it to make a deal in the league today?
A lot more difficult because there's a lot more dollars involved.
Did it frustrate you?
Not really. But you know what? I think there's some teams that just want to make deals for different reasons than others. And one of the things I think is so interesting is that teams that have players with expiring contracts suddenly are viable trading contract. Can you imagine paying someone $20 million or $15 million to have on your team who's not even going to play for you? I can't even, I mean, I've never heard anything like that before. But they have become valuable commodities today. And, you know, the Laker trade, if I were Kwame Brown, I probably wouldn't have felt very good about saying, well, he had the largest expiring contract in the league. I wouldn't have felt very good about it. I'm sure his agent's not very happy about it. But that they have become valuable commodities today.
That's right. Everybody wanted them.
Well, not everybody.
But you know what I mean.
Well, but some teams.
Take that money off my books next year. I'll take that anytime.
That's exactly right. Absolutely right.
Hey, it's interesting. This is an Olympic year.